Kembo na tata nzambi ya mazulu. Kembo, hallelujah, glory. Salama everybody. Salama to the Bantu people in Africa. Salama to the Bantus all over the world, in the Americas, in Europe, the Bantus in Asia, the Bantus in the Americas, of course, North America, South America, the Caribbean islands. Yes, salama to all truth seekers, Bantus or non-Bantus. Salama to anybody who's seeking the truth, and everybody's trying to find out what the heck is happening in this world. I'm sure everybody is wondering what is happening in South Africa. What is happening in South Africa, and what is the Spirit saying, and all these things. It's very deep. I was actually in prayer, seeking wisdom from the Most High, and I put my phone down. In such, when you see such things, all you can do is pray and seek the Most High. But then what happened is, I put my phone down, and I went to check my Facebook. So I started reading some of the comments from people, and it's good to see everybody expressing themselves, and to hear different views and everything like that. It's good. I believe in freedom of expression, and let everybody express themselves. So what are my views concerning South Africa? Yeah, let's begin. Because a lot of I'm doing this video especially for our brothers and sisters in the Americas. That's who I'm called to. That's where my heart is at. Okay. Some of you may watch these videos and see the events that happen in South Africa, and you're getting shocked, and you're like, wow, what is happening? We must put everything in context. Okay? South African people are people full of love, are people full of enthusiasm. Okay? South African people are a people with a great history. Okay? And I encourage our brothers and sisters in the Americas to study South African history. Before apartheid, even study apartheid. Apartheid was the colonial system of segregation. It's exactly the same, similar things that Americans went through, the Jim Crow days and all the segregation laws that were passed in America. So I always encourage African Americans to study African history, and especially South African history, and you'll see yourselves in South African history. We are the very same people, and I pray we understand that and we get that. Just forgive the noise. There's a lady working here. This is the best time I can come. Okay, this is the best time I can come before I start my day. Okay. So if you hear noise and things like that, just please forgive me. Okay? At the right time, the Most High is going to probably give me another place to do these things. But this is the best time I can come in. And yeah. So I was saying, South African people are beautiful people. South African people are intelligent people. South African people are amazing people. Okay? I'm going to go a bit personal on my history and story, why I make that conclusion. You see, I'm originally from Congo, but I moved to South Africa, and I grew up in South Africa. Okay? And I was always fascinated by South African history and South African people. Okay? In South Africa, you find diverse. You find the Bantu people, who are comprised of the Zulu, the Xhosa, Ndebele, Venda, Tswana, Tsonga, and of course you find the mixed race people. They are called coloreds. Okay, you find the Caucasian people of French, Portuguese, and Dutch descent, and also British descent. You find the Indian people. So it's a mixed spot, and that is why President Nelson Mandela called it the Rainbow Nation. It's a place of diverse cultures, diverse people, and of course, you know what I believe in. I believe that the Bantu people are the Hebrews, the chosen people of the Bible, and things like that. So so I would say South Africans are beautiful people, smart people, intelligent people, hardworking people. But we have to put things in context. Why are we seeing these things? Why are we seeing these things now? And this is the year of 400, the 400 year of slavery, where we are waking up. And because a lot of the Hebrews in America, some of them believed they were the only slaves. No, the Bantu people were enslaved in their own land. Okay, we were enslaved in our own land. I say our own land because we were moving down, and when we moved down, we conquered the tribes that were here, the Hamitic tribes, the Pygmies. The Pygmies were in Congo, and South African people are actually Congolese. They just don't know that. Many of them don't know that. They were moving down from Congo, and when they moved down, they met people called the Khoisan. If you watch the movie The Gods Must Be Crazy, those were the people living in the land. And when the Bantus moved down, of course, we took over the land and we made it ours. Okay, according to prophecy, it's in the Bible. Okay, it's in the Bible. The Most High said that he said that he would give us Ethiopia and Sheba in our hands. I think if you read Isaiah, somewhere in Isaiah. Okay, I don't remember where it is, but he said, I will give you Ethiopia and Africa in your hands. Okay, so the Bantu people took the land from the Hamitic people. Okay, that is just history. What happened then? The Europeans came, and the Europeans enslaved us in the land that we took. Okay, I'm just trying to break down history very, very easy, fast. So the Europeans enslaved us in our lands, in Congo, Namibia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, everywhere. Okay, but we're focusing on South Africa today. So the South African people were enslaved in their own land. Okay, but they were coming from Congo, and a lot of South Africans don't know that part of history, especially the Nguni people. They were from Congo. Okay, this is the part of history a lot of South Africans don't know. I've spoken to some South Africans who know that, hey, our forefathers come from Congo. Some of them are discovering these things now. Okay, just please forgive the noise. Some of them are discovering these things now. Their roots are in Congo. Congo is the center. Congo is the mother. There's even a late South African musician who's saying Congo Mama, saying Congo is the mother. Congo is the mother. Congo is the mother. But anyway, of course, the South African people were under apartheid. They suffered badly. They suffered, man, very bad. It was very, very bad. Very, very bad. Okay? It was very, very bad, and it's just, I don't know. If you study apartheid and you see what the South African people went through, it's crazy. It's very, very crazy. It's just, I cannot even put it in words. Okay. Now, Nelson Mandela came, and they say he liberated the people, and people were happy and everything like that. So we moved to South Africa in 1990. My dad moved in the early 90s, and we moved in 1992. And other people from other African countries moved. Okay? So we moved to South Africa, and we started our life here. And you'll find a lot of people from Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Zambia, Congo, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and all over moved to South Africa because we believed that it was a new start for South Africa. Okay? Now, when the migrants moved, okay, the migrants came, we left our country because of war and rumors of war and things like that. So the migrants came and started their life in South Africa. Okay? Now, one of the mistakes the government of South Africa did is me personally, one of the biggest mistakes was over promoting Nelson Mandela. They made Nelson Mandela into a messiah type. Okay? And it gave black people a false notion of freedom. Kinda like the same things we saw with Barack Obama. Okay? And the funny thing is, Barack Obama and Nelson Mandela look alike. Though Obama is a Hamitic person and Nelson Mandela is a Hebrew. Okay? But they look alike. Very weird. But anyway, what do I know? You know? Like in America, when Obama won, okay, a lot of the black people in America said it's time for freedom and liberation. A false notion of freedom. It was the same notion that was sold here in South Africa. Okay? It was the same notion sold here in South Africa. And the way they promoted Nelson Mandela and things like that. And Mandela was seen like as a messiah. Okay? So the government has played that narrative for many years. But now, what has happened is many of the promises that the ANC have promised the South African people, they have not fulfilled. Okay? Because a lot of South African people are waiting for the government to do something. A lot of them. Not all of them, a lot of them. Okay? But now, the migrants who came from broken countries developed a work ethic, because a lot of migrants knew that this is our last hope. We see South Africa as a promised land, which it is. South Africa is a promised land. Okay? So when the migrants were moving in, from the African migrants, they saw South Africa as the chosen land. So coming from a strong work ethic, they came, okay, and started working hard from scratch, and started working hard, and rose to the top. Rose to the top. Now, the South African people, a lot of them were deceived by the whole Mandela notion. Not all, some. Okay? So a lot of them, especially in the townships, have waited for the government to do something. Okay? Now, we've also seen a rise of corruption in government. The corruption in government. And this has caused a huge issue in South Africa, where the government does not take care of its people. The South African government has neglected its people. Okay, they've neglected their people. And this is one of the saddest part about this government. The South African government have neglected its people. They can do more. Now, there was something called BEE, Black Economic Empowerment, where they They said they're going to give jobs to black people and things like that. But now the funny thing is, it was only the black elites who benefited from that. The average South African didn't benefit from it. What am I trying to say? Frustration builds. Frustration builds. Frustration builds. I am from Congo, okay? And my dad came here legally. My dad is a medical doctor by profession, a gynecologist, a hard worker. And there are many other Congolese parents who work very hard. We came to this country, we had to learn English. We had to learn English. We had to learn Afrikaans because we went to white schools. Okay, we went to white schools. They called them, I think, Model C schools. I even forgot what they called them. So we had to learn English, learn Afrikaans. Do you understand? And we started mingling with a lot of the South African people. Me personally, I am not xenophobic. I'm not a tribalist. I love black people, and I studied black history. I started studying South African history very young. And when you study South African history, you will appreciate South African people. Kind of like what I do with the African Americans. I never attack or mock them. No, I understand where they're coming from. I understand. It's the same thing I did with the South African people. I started studying the history and started studying to understand why. What are the problems in South Africa? Now you'll find not only Congolese, there are also Nigerians who came. And Nigerians are a very competitive people. Because in the country, the poverty in the country has pushed them to work hard. Okay, Nigerians, no matter what field you find them, they are hard workers. They work hard, whether good or bad. Okay, whether good or bad. So a lot of Nigerians started coming into South Africa. Now this is where it gets interesting. Do you know, when it comes to IQ and tests, they've done that Nigerians are the smartest people in Africa. They tend to go to PhD level and things like that. They do amazing things. Go all over the world, even in Europe, you'll find Nigerians who study very hard. Congolese do the same. Zimbabweans do the same. Do you understand? Why? Because these Congolese, Nigerians, and other people, we got independence in the 1960s. South Africa only got so-called independence in 1994. So we have to understand is they are a young so-called democracy. Okay? They're a young democracy. Now, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Congolese, and other people, okay, we started before South African people. Okay, so when we came here, many migrants were ahead in terms of how the world works. Okay, because the South African people were locked up in apartheid. They were locked up in apartheid. Okay, now during apartheid there were some South African people who went into other African countries. They went into other African countries and they opened their minds. Their minds were open. Okay, their minds were open. Do you understand? But a lot of South African people who grew up under apartheid, they grew up very narrow-minded. They didn't understand what is happening in the world. Kind of like what we see with our brothers and sisters in the Americas. Not all of them, okay? But we tend to see a lot of African Americans being very narrow-minded. It's the same thing with a lot of South African people. A lot of them are narrow-minded. A lot of them have not studied. And when I mean studied, I don't mean going to school. Just doing normal research. Just even knowing Bantu history. Some of them don't even know. Not all, some. Okay, I'm picking my words very carefully. Okay, not all, but some. So now, when you have all this mixture in a country, there's a battle for resources. There's a huge battle for resources. Okay, and now a lot of the South African people are still waiting for the government to help them. Time has gone by and the government does not help its people. So what builds? Frustration. Frustration. Now, South Africa is the land of milk and honey. And this is where I want to talk about Nigerians. They are good Nigerian people who I know personally, who do a lot, and I respect them. But we also have bad Nigerian people. And this is what actually sparked the attacks. Is there was a Nigerian drug dealer who was selling drugs to a South African taxi driver. What happened? The deal went wrong, and the Nigerian killed the South African taxi driver. Okay? And this sparked a huge uproar. Now, Nigeria and South Africa have always been political rivals since the days of Nelson Mandela, because Nigeria and South Africa are rivals about who's going to control Africa. Those who know politics know what I'm talking about. Nigeria and South Africa have always had this love-hate relationship. Okay, we saw it even in sport. We see it everywhere. Okay, and there are good Nigerians who are doing a good job in South Africa, but at the same time there are also bad Nigerians. And this is the sad part about life, is the bad apples will always get promoted more than the good apples. All over the world you go, you see Nigerians who are doing well, but there will be those few Nigerians who are drug dealers and doing all these things. And this is the sad part, is the bad Nigerians have destroyed the image of the good Nigerians. Okay, the bad Nigerians have destroyed the image of the good Nigerians. The bad Nigerians have destroyed the image of the good Nigerians. Now in South Africa, if you're a foreigner, a lot of people just believe you're Nigerian. So what happened? A lot of South Africans got angry and went to start looting shops. And they started looting shops, and you've seen the story, and you've seen all these things. Now on the other hand, there was in 1994, when so-called democracy came, South African people a lot of them started going to schools, okay, to white-owned schools or things like that, and the ones who went to school or got knowledge and mingled with other people were a bit different from other people who grew up in the townships. Okay, and you notice that a lot of the xenophobic stuff happens in the townships. Okay, it's where people don't have knowledge. Okay, and I'm saying this in not in a way to degrade, but a lot don't have knowledge. When I mean knowledge, I don't mean a degree, just an open mind. Okay, xenophobia is the fear of the unknown. So you'll see that a lot of South African people in the townships have never mingled or have never researched, have never opened their minds to the world that is out there. Kind of like a lot of our brothers and sisters in America. They believe life revolves around America, when life is bigger than America. It's the same thing we see in South Africa. A lot of them believe that life revolves around South Africa, when the world is bigger than South Africa. Okay? But now, of course, there are some South African people, a lot of them, who opened their minds and they saw the opportunities and mingled with other people. Do you understand? So what am I trying to say? Xenophobia is just a lack of knowledge. Xenophobia is a lack of knowledge. That is why I encourage people to study other people's cultures. Read. When you read, you open your mind. And if you have the time to research and time to visit other people, do it. Visit other countries. Open your mind. Visit other people. Do you understand what I'm saying? It will really help you. If you cannot visit countries, read a book. Research. Study. If a lot of South Africans would research on their history, they will see that they are from Congo. They are from Congo. Okay? Now, coming back on the Nigerian issue. I stay in an area where I see Nigerian drug dealers. I see Nigerian drug dealers. Okay? And we sell drugs, and it's known. One day, I normally go to a hair salon owned by a Nigerian lady. The Nigerian lady, I saw a Nigerian woman confront one of these drug dealers and say, "Why do you sell drugs to these people?" And the guy was just, "No, it's business." That really touched me. So we call on the good Nigerians to speak out against what other Nigerians are doing. We call on the good Nigerians to speak out against what the bad Nigerians are doing. Don't keep silent. I'm from Congo. Everybody saw, I'm sure the whole world saw the pastor who tried to fake the resurrection. He's from Congo. I'm a very proud Congolese. But I rebuked that man. I rebuked that man. I went on Facebook, I went on YouTube, and I rebuked that pastor who tried to fake a resurrection, because the image of Congo was destroyed. I rebuked that man. I said, no, he may be Congolese, I'm not going to stand for that. And we have another pastor from Malawi who's lying to South African people, but the Malawians are silent. So we call on Malawian people. You know, your brother, I don't even want to say his name. You know what he's doing. You know the fake miracles that he's doing and all the fraud that he's doing, but you guys are silent. Stand up and rebuke. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we're living in a day of justice where we must stand up for righteousness and justice. I rebuked that Congolese pastor who faked a resurrection. I said, no, you're dirting the image of Congo. And you notice I'm talking about the church. And one of the areas where a lot of the migrants have thrived is through church. And a lot of the churches are owned by foreigners. Okay? And there are many scandals in these foreign churches. So you'll find that a lot of the pastors, and I always tell these pastors, is when you open a church in South Africa, just forgive the noise. How are you? Yeah. A lot of the foreigners are thriving in the church business. Okay, we have people from Congo, Malawi, Ghana, Nigeria. So they come to South Africa, and because you see, South African people are very spiritual. Okay, they're very spiritual. So anything spiritual, they fall for. Okay. How can I say it? Let me choose my words carefully. It's like South African people are looking for a Messiah. They're looking for a Messiah. Okay? Because during the days of Mandela, many of them were brainwashed. They're looking for a Messiah. Do you understand? So any pastor can come and deceive them. It's sad. And why? Because in a lot of the South African psychology, they're looking for a Messiah who can deliver me from poverty, who can do this, who can do that. And a lot of the foreign pastors have understood this. So they've come to South Africa and made a mockery out of them. And I'll say it. Congolese pastors, yes. Malawian pastors, yes. Nigerian pastors, yes. And you'll find that a lot of the scandals have taken part in these foreign churches. Okay? Now, the pastors who made people eat grass and things like that are not foreign pastors. They're South Africans. Okay? But the pastor who faked the resurrection, The other pastor who faked walking in the air and faked whatever are foreigners. We have a Nigerian pastor right now who's in court for human trafficking and rape. So I say, where are the Nigerians who are speaking out against your Nigerian brother doing all these things? Do you understand? I'm trying to bring justice. We must stand for justice and stand for righteousness. I'm a proud Congolese, but when my Congolese brothers do nonsense, I rebuke them and I denounce them. Okay? And that is what we should do. And we need more South African people to stand up and speak out against xenophobia. Okay? We need South Africans to speak out against xenophobia. More voices. Okay? But at the same time, it's a very tricky situation, because a lot of South Africans now are awakening and are becoming more patriotic. Okay? They're becoming more and more patriotic, which I respect. But now this is the funny thing. The xenophobic stuff only happens among black people. Okay? A lot of South Africans only target the black people, but they'll never target the white people. Do you understand? A white man is seen as a tourist, but a fellow African is seen as a foreigner. It's also how the way the media plays things out. Now, the media will never promote the good. The media will never promote the good that South African people do. They are intelligent, smart South African people who do amazing things. The media doesn't promote that. They are intelligent Congolese who do amazing things. The media doesn't promote that. There are amazing Nigerians who do amazing things. The media does not promote that. What am I saying? We need our own media where we promote positive images of Africa and Africans, Bantu people, non-Bantu people. I'm speaking as African as a whole. We need media that promotes the good of our people. That's very, very important. Number two, African history needs to be taught, not from slavery. African history needs to be taught in schools, not from slavery, not apartheid. No. Where does our history begin as African people? And it's not taught. The sad part is, when I talk to a lot of South African people, they don't know that they came from Central Africa. Many of them don't know. It's the weirdest thing. So if knowledge can be pumped in the South African school system, in the townships, you teach true African Bantu history to the people, it might make a difference. I believe so. You know, so yeah, it's a very delicate time. I try to pick my words correctly. I have Nigerian friends, which I respect so much. I have South African friends who I love and respect so much. Okay? I grew up in this country. I have experienced xenophobia. I'll tell you my story. A couple of years ago, I was going to draw money, and I don't know, for some reason a cop stopped me, and it was a big cop. Okay, now I'll defend myself. I'm not afraid. I'll defend myself. There was a big cop, and he grabbed me. So in my mind I'm thinking, oh no, I'm gonna get trafficked or something like that. So I tried to defend myself against this guy. I saw that he had a gun. And I said no. So he pulled me in the van. He treated me like I was a thief or something. I went to go draw money. He called me and he asked me, where are you from? Like, what is going on? I'm a South African citizen. I came here legally. I'm a South African. I've been here for over 28 years. I'm a South African citizen. he grabbed me and put me in the van. And he started telling me the most xenophobic things I've heard in my life. But I was calm. At the end of the day, I just knew that he wanted money. So I said, I'm not going to give him nothing. What I did is, there's a friend of mine who acted like a lawyer, who came, and we solved the situation. Now, I could have left there angry, and I've experienced many other xenophobic things. I could have left there angry and hate all South Africans or whatever. But I understand. I see the bigger picture. And this is what I want to end by here. We have to see the bigger picture. We have to see the bigger picture. Who really is our enemy? Because the xenophobic attacks are happening in KwaZulu Natal. They're happening in Gauteng, Johannesburg. Okay? But for some reason, the xenophobic attacks are not happening in Cape Town. And that's where all the Caucasians are. A lot of them are in Cape Town. For some funny reason, we just see xenophobic attacks in Joburg and KZN. For some strange reason, we don't see in Cape Town. Think, my brothers and sisters. The message is Africans can't govern themselves. Africans can't govern themselves. Look, here in Cape Town we have white people and these things are not happening. Yeah. You know, we have to be smart in this time, not be emotional. Let's be strategic. Let's think, why are the xenophobic attacks happening in Johannesburg and KZN, but for some strange reason it's not happening in Cape Town? And I hear a lot of South African people say, we were better under apartheid. I've heard it before. We were better when the white man was in control. Because what happens right now is the black people have political control, but the white man has economic control. Okay? And the white people are a minority. In America is the inverse. In America, the blacks are the minority. In South Africa, the blacks are the majority, but the whites control the economy. This is the sad part about not only South Africa, the whole of Africa. The minority controls the majority. The system. It's a very sensitive time. A very, very sensitive time. And you know, being a spiritual person, I also call on the pastors. This is not the time to be preaching prosperity. It's not the time to be preaching success and people's marriages. In the Bible, the prophets stood for the nations and stood for their people. All these mega pastors, foreign pastors and South African pastors, what are you preaching in your churches? Because if there was really revival, the hearts of people were going to change. But things are getting worse and worse and worse. What gospel are you preaching in your churches? Money? Marriages? Prosperity? Is it all you're preaching? I listen to a lot of the foreign pastors and even the South African pastors. When you listen to them, in this time of tragedy and everything, you're preaching prosperity, you're preaching money. Really? Are you really prophets? Are you really prophets of the Most High? You know? I'm going to see the response of the church. How's the church going to respond? You know? So yeah, so a lot of African Americans saw those images and having many questions about South Africa and things like that. Not all South Africans are xenophobic. Okay? No. It would be a grave sin to say that. No. Some South Africans are patriotic, and they are tired. They are tired of the bad foreigners who are messing up this country. And I can say, yes, they are. I've seen bad foreigners who do crazy things. And me personally, I come up to them and I say, guys, when you guys do these things, you're putting the lives of other people at risk. When these fake pastors, these fake foreign pastors do the fake stuff, you're putting us at risk. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're putting us at risk. Don't be selfish. When we have bad Nigerians who are selling drugs, you're putting all of us at risk. Because a lot of South Africans believe everybody's Nigerian. If you're foreign, you're Nigerian. No. You know? It's sad. So these things got me sad. And the way forward, we will see the way forward. But in this time, let's be in prayer. Let's be in prayer and fasting. I believe in the Most High. And we shouldn't be surprised because the Bible prophesied these things. Jacob's trouble, Yakuba's trouble. And these are just the beginning of the birth pains. There's a lot of things that are going to hit the earth. I don't know if you've seen what's happening all over the world. Revolutions in Hong Kong and what and things like that. These are the times we're living in. But we mustn't be passive, and we must stand. Let's pray for South Africa. Let's pray for Nigeria. Let's pray for South Africa in this time. In this sensitive time. And I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the power of prayer. Okay, I believe in the power of prayer. And let's just pray for protection. And another thing also, as black people, we don't love each other. We don't love each other. That is the biggest issue. Black people, we don't love each other. If we did, white people would have never ruled over us. The Chinese men would never rule over us. We don't love each other. Yeah, so that is just the introduction or a small thing that I was sharing. I'll share more concerning African issues and things like that. And I always try to bring the spiritual aspect to it. Salama and Kembo.